We're going to win this election. We have to win this election. Literally, our country and our world depends on us winning this election. That's what's going to happen.
That's Doug Emhoff. He took a little time out from being a misogynist and slapping around women. I don't think we can risk having that person close to the President of the United States. So if she were to win, he's going to have to be kept in isolation somewhere. Also, isn't it great? We can't, the Democrats started all this rhetoric about the end of democracy. Now, Trump was already president for 4 years. Democracy was very strong, a lot stronger when he left than it is now, here and around the world, just by the way. Well, happy Wednesday to you, and welcome back once again. Doug Emhoff, I'm beginning to think, based on the reporting, is not a good person. Not a good person at all. You know, he's got 2 kids from his previous marriage, a 29-year-old named Cole. That's a male person, I think. And a female person, 25 years old, Ella. She's got tattoos and scurvy. I think scurvy and tattoos and scurvy. I don't know who sees mom, because, you know, that's when Doug Emhoff knocked up the nanny, who was also the school teacher to the 2 kids, and then either paid for her abortion or didn't. But you know how that goes. That's pretty wacky stuff. Well, welcome back. A lot of Democrat hijinks to cover today. And that was Doug Emhoff. Oh, we've got to win this election. Otherwise, it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world as we know it. And amazing stuff. That's what they've been saying. It's the end of democracy. We'll never have another election. And then yesterday we played for you Elon Musk audio talking to Tucker Carlson. And he's saying that, and also I've been playing for you the Democrat member of Congress the other day who was on MSNBC. Well, if Trump wins, you're going to be arrested and thrown in jail. And Joe Scarborough saying, yeah, I'm going to be arrested and thrown in jail when Trump is elected. And Hillary saying Trump's going to use the military to round people up around the country. You guys are rounding up your political enemies from January 6th and from the Trump White House and Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon, and you've charged your primary political adversary, your enemy, with how many different felony counts for, what was it, a phone call to Ukraine. He was impeached, and that phone call to Ukraine was asking about the Biden family taking money out of Ukraine, which we now all know they did, but pay no attention to that. Isn't it amazing? But they spread this paranoia. There's more paranoia from the Democrats that I have to share with you today. Not only is it the end of democracy and there'll never be another election and everybody will be sent to jail because of the things that they've done in the past, and Trump, and then we've got the Trump is Hitler part. The old Hitler rhetoric. It's good stuff. And in the meantime, we have this giant hurricane coming into Florida, and it's a big one. Milton is the name of the hurricane. Talking to Ray Stevens in Chicago on WLS this morning, he said, "Well, it's Hurricane Milton. Do you think Milton was bullied as a child? Because when your name is Milton, Milty, not a very popular name, I don't think anymore. Hey, Milton, you got any 6-year-olds? How about in your son's class? Max is 9 years old now. Got any Miltons in his class, you think? That's not the most popular name, but it is a giant hurricane, and it is expected to cause havoc. And, of course, everything now, this is one of the problems we have, is that every time a hurricane comes along, they, you know who they are, those people, they tell us that it's the biggest, baddest ever, that winds have never traveled this fast, that storm surge has never been this high. And that happens primarily, if not entirely, because they've politicized the weather. right? And now it's global warming, it's climate change. And, oh, yeah, Greta von Thunberg. Greta von Thunberg, she's a climate hysterian from a couple of years ago. I think she's not even a child anymore. She's like 21 years old. I saw a picture of her today because she was in Berlin, protesting in favor of Hamas and against Israel. Because, environmentalism, pro-Hamas, pro-jihad, what's the difference, right? But Greta von Thunberg, yeah, she was in Berlin, Germany. Should we pronounce it like the Ukrainians pronounce it? Because I know how the Democrats like to use local pronunciations for this sort of stuff. But Greta von Thunberg, the Democrat Party and the left worldwide, so completely unhinged, so completely insane.
How dare you!
That Greta, we all love Greta. She lectured the whole world as a teenager about, and she's traveling around on multi-million-dollar carbon sailing yachts and private jets here and there, but she regrets it. Greta von Thunberg.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean.
I'm telling you, Greta von Thunberg. Yeah, and now where's Greta? She was in Germany, in Berlin, and she was protesting against Israel because the Jews are bad. You have to look out for them. Can't trust them. They might make it snow on you, as D.C. Council member Trayon White likes to say. Remarkable stuff. Yeah, so Greta von Thunberg in Berlin protesting against Israel, wearing a Palestinian headdress, right? And what is it with the left? They all goose-step to the same things all the time, don't they?
We will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this.
Why would you never forgive? Why would you never let us go? You're a teenager. Why don't you sit down and shut the beep up? Just saying.
I don't want you to listen to me.
And here is the story. Greta Thunberg photographed while protesting against Israel in Berlin. I think if you want to protest against Israel, really, what better place than Germany? I mean, when it comes to, Berlin, it might be Munich. They still have that big stadium there where their boy with the Socialist Workers' Party is together. But Greta Thunberg is her real name. Photographed protesting against Israel in Berlin. She's wearing a Palestinian headdress tied around her neck. And she's doing this on the first anniversary, day before yesterday, of the October 7th massacre, with a mob of people that have Palestinian flags and Palestinian headdresses. And boy, and I got to tell you, the years have not been kind to Greta von Thunberg. She is, what is she, like 21 years old now? And she could apply for the role as like Eva Braun in the upcoming play. She looks like she's 50, and things have not been going well for Greta von Thunberg. I think she's hanging out with the wrong people. I'm just saying. And there's a post on the Twitter, formerly known as X. Just kidding. I know it's X, formerly known as Twitter. How many times do you have to see it before it's ingrained in your brain? But people responding, actually the first response now is, she aged fast. and that's 100% true. And she's the leader of the Nazi youth. Honestly, they all are aspiring Nazi youth. There is no doubt about it. Man, oh man. And I don't care what side you're on, but if you celebrate the massacre of October 7th by barbaric animals, you yourself are a barbaric animal. So Greta Thunberg. But here's the thing. This is what the left does. Once they indoctrinate you, then you goose step to all of their causes. You must goose step to all of their causes. You can't adopt some cause. It's not an a la carte menu. You got to be all in. You're anti-Wall Street. You're anti-big business. You're anti-big pharma. You're anti-big oil, big energy. You think that while you fly around on Gulfstream jets, everybody else should get some calfskin moccasins and walk around like Native Americans 1,000 years ago, because you're saving the planet by forcing other people to behave in ways that you refuse to behave, the usual left-wing stuff. Amazing stuff. Yeah, but there's the Thunberg, and she does look like a 50-year-old German woman. In a bunker. Yeah, it's another Eva Braun reference. Another Eva Braun reference.
Blah, 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 blah.
They all applaud. That was Greta at a gathering of leftists, and she's a teenager, and she says blah, 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 and they all applaud. Because every day is an IQ test, and the left not really doing very well on the IQ thing.
My opinions on this doesn't matter.
My opinions on this doesn't matter. She had a singular plural disagreement in that phrase. You say your opinions on this don't matter, not doesn't matter. You can say my opinion doesn't matter, but my opinions don't matter. See, singular plural. You want them to agree, but they get dumb people and they use them. You know, what's the boy, the gun boy out of Florida that they turned into an icon because they love using and abusing children and David Hogg, right? David Hogg? Yeah, he became they turned these children into minor prophets, and we're all supposed to take them, whatever they say, we're supposed to take them at their word, and like they know better than we do. Because they're children, not in spite of the fact that they're children. Amazing.
How dare you?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. All right, let's take a phone call. I have a great many things to get to. I really haven't even touched my sound bites sheet yet. A lot to get to. The Democrats are crazy, and they must be voted out of office. Let's go to Jason calling from Kensington, Maryland. Jason, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, g'day, Chris. How you going, mate?
Very well, very well. What do you know? What do you say?
I'm just talking about Elon Musk saying this would be the last sort of free election and we have to win. I mean, I can sort of see that because, I mean, Trump has sort of come along and brought a whole different language to Washington. He's really sort of put the government agencies and the media sort of under a microscope. And, I mean, they've really, of course they're going to be bucking because he's basically exposed them, and no other politician has done that. I mean, he's a little bit of an egomaniac, and he says silly things, but I think he genuinely wants to leave a legacy because he really hasn't got nothing to prove. And I think his last legacy, he wants to leave sort of a strong country and sort of be responsible for that. And hopefully sort of J.D. Vance is sort of the next generation of people that will sort of carry that flag and keep the spotlight well and truly on these corrupt agencies. And I mean, of course, we're getting all the blowback from them, of course. They're basically fighting a system that they've controlled for years and years, and they don't want to give it up.
Have you noticed that he was shot once through the ear, and there was a second would-be assassin with a rifle at the golf course in Florida, a third would-be assassin arrested in, I believe, Idaho about 2 weeks ago. We have the Iranian plot to assassinate him with a Pakistani man arrested in New York a couple of weeks ago, sitting in jail, I think, unless Kamala bailed him out. And that none of that is a part of the discussion in the news media. And you mentioned just in passing, Jason, you blew right by. You said, well, you know, the government agencies and the media,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they really are, what Benito Mussolini described as fascism, the merging of state and corporate power. And the government agencies and the media have become effectively part of the same operation, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. And, and also some of the certain corporations that tie in with that. You got Bill Gates, who's, basically wants to depopulate the place. And it's just amazing that people are just so willing to go along with this because it's got a D in front of their name. I mean, at some stage you'd think some self-preservation might kick in and, you might start thinking, well, my quality of life is not getting any better. And, something needs to change.
Well, and people don't know anything about the 20th century and the rise of fascism and totalitarianism in Europe and communism in Asia. And if you know about those things, then you recognize the signs. And people that fled communism from around the world recognize what we're watching here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I love the way you
Yeah.
put together government agencies and the media, though, because that's exactly right. Jason, thanks, buddy. Great to hear your voice.
Hey, thanks, mate. Take care.
You bet. You too. America's strength isn't just built, it's also worn. For those who put in the hours to get things done, fewer and fewer of us, G-Defy shoes are made right for you. With patented VersaShock technology, G-Defy shoes, well, they don't just, they don't talk comfort at G-Defy, they engineer comfort. Every step you take, G-Defy shoes help to absorb harmful shock and provide trampoline-like energy return. For your feet, my best girl and I, we've got our G-Defy shoes. They sent us G-Defy shoes. We hike around the city. They're great. Your feet feel better after you go for a hike than they felt before you started. They're designed for hardworking people, for parents, for people who stand tall no matter what. All you have to do is go to gdefy.com, GDEFY.com, and use the code Chris, that's me, for $20 off your pair of shoes. That's Chris for $20 off today, because strong foundations start with solid steps. That's gdefy.com. Yeah. Yeah, people that fled communism, totalitarianism, they know, they see, ask anyone.
If Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have.
Also, CNN calling Trump Hitler because Trump's talking about the illegal alien murderers loose in the United States. And he said something, as Jason, the Australian, just said a couple of minutes ago. Trump may be an egomaniac who says silly things, and but he was a great president for 4 years, and he's a great leader, and he scares the bad guys like Putin and the gang, and that's great. But Donald Trump did say something about the illegal alien murderers on the loose in the United States, right? The numbers that came out a couple of weeks ago now, about 13,000 murderers on the loose in the United States. President Trump talked about them, said that murderers, just have bad genes, genetic composition. And that makes him Hitler now on CNN.
Comrade Kamala Harris willfully threw open our border, helping to virtually destroy our country.
Virtually destroy our country. Did you know that we had a caller that called in earlier, but he didn't stay on the line, and I wanted to go to him, but never mind that now. You know that hospitals now in the United States are experiencing a massive shortage of saline fluid. Whenever you go to the hospital, you get a big crash, you got, somebody stranded on a rooftop in a flood after a hurricane. They put a needle in your arm with that clear plastic bag hanging from a thing, right? And it's saline. It's salty water to, neutrify or restore your fluids. Well, right now, the supply chain for saline fluid in the United States is at a massive and dangerous low. And the guy that called in earlier, his wife is a nurse, and she was telling him about what's going on. The supply chain for saline fluid, there's a massive shortage, and, this shortage is happening because of Ukraine, because Joe Biden and the Democrats are sending all of our medical supplies, the saline, to Ukraine, which is another country because, the Democrats are funding a big war there. I remember when President Trump was in the White House, there was no war there. But he's the one who's Hitler, right? Trump is the one who's Hitler. Ralph Norman warns U.S. is facing a saline shortage due to shipments to Ukraine and hurricane damage. Just the News is reporting. John Solomon's organization, medical facilities around the United States are preparing for the shortage after a medical facility in North Carolina closed down because of flooding from the storm and because of the shipments to Ukraine. Republican South Carolina Representative Ralph Norman warned day before yesterday that the United States was facing a saline shortage because of shipments of the critical medical solution have gone to Ukraine. Medical facilities around the United States are preparing for the shortage after a medical facility in North Carolina closed down because of the flooding from the last hurricane. And we got another one coming now. And the shipments to Ukraine. The plant is operated by Baxter Healthcare Corporation, which produces approximately 60% of the nation's supply of IV solutions, according to the News and Observer, the newspaper down there. Norman claimed that the shortage and shipment of the products to Ukraine was an assault on our way of life. And there it is. That is pretty wacky. So just another Democrat Party trick. And Ukraine, once again, Ukraine keeps coming up. You know, Ukraine was not an important part of our lives before Joe Biden came along. Now Ukraine is an everyday part of our lives. And since we're talking about medical situations, I should talk about this one now, too. The National Review yesterday. Nearly 14,000 minors, that is people under the age of 18, underwent sex change procedures in recent years, according to new watchdog database. The watchdog keeps a database. A medical watchdog organization released groundbreaking data on Tuesday, that's yesterday, revealing the number of total child sex change interventions that have been administered in the United States in recent years, as well as the locations where the procedures are taking place. Do No Harm is the name of the organization. Do No Harm, a nonprofit organization that monitors and they combat child gender transitions and discrimination in medicine, constructed a database quantifying the extent to which American children are receiving gender transition procedures. From January of 2019 to December of 2023, 13,994 minor patients received gender transition treatments, with 5,747 undergoing sex change surgeries and 8,579 getting hormones and puberty blockers, according to Do No Harm's database. A majority of the body modification procedures, these procedures that they're undergoing, just amazing, are happening. Guess where? In Lefty Havens. Because, you know, they, man, oh man, they just amazing stuff. So National Review has the story, and the Washington Post doesn't. And the Democrat Party is doing this. I don't think they care about children. You know, at the Democratic National Convention, they had vehicles there that were giving out free vasectomies. Now, would you get in the back of a van at the Democratic Convention to get the old snip on your, I got to tell you, on the family jewels, that is pretty amazing stuff. And, of course, they were giving free abortions in vehicles at the Democratic National Convention as well. The Democrat Party is not well. They've got, Greta Thunberg isn't an American, but she's a pet of the American Democrat Party and the left. And she's out there screaming and yelling, how dare you about the weather. And then going to Berlin, of all places, on the anniversary of the October 7th massacre in Israel to support Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran. Isn't that amazing? Just amazing. Speaking of which, now I want to get to the Hitler thing, but since we're right here, I think I'd like to talk about the Canadian who is a conservative. They have some conservatives in Canada. I know they do. In fact, we had a Canadian on the line earlier. He didn't hang in there either. He's calling long distance. Hey, long distance information, get me Memphis, Tennessee. But here is this Canadian. His name is Pierre, naturally. Pierre Marcel. Pierre Marcel what? Pierre, he's the Conservative Party leader, and he's kind of an interesting guy. And
Pierre Poilievre.
He is, right, yeah, there he is. His name is Poilievre because it's French. I actually have the pronouncer here somewhere. It's a good thing. But his name is spelled Poile, Ievre, Poilievre, and Pierre Marcel Poilievre. And he's a Canadian politician. He's a member of Parliament, and he's the opposition leader in the Parliament because he's a conservative. And the Prime Minister there is Justin Trudeau. He's the blackface guy. Remember him, right? But listen to this. I got to say, good guy, Pierre Poilievre, and he is a Canadian member of Parliament and hopefully running for Prime Minister because not only does Canada need somebody like this guy, but the world needs somebody like this guy. Here is Pierre. He was asked whether he would support Israel conducting airstrikes on Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, on their nuclear facilities, And the Democrats here, Joe Biden, is like, oh, no, don't do that. Let them make nuclear weapons and kill all the Jews and then blow up Washington, D.C. So he's the Canadian opposition leader in Parliament, and Pierre Poilievre. And here he's asked, would you support allowing, like we allow, would you support Israel striking Iran's nuclear weapons facilities, which is what they are? And listen to what Pierre said.
I think the idea of allowing a genocidal, theocratic, unstable dictatorship that is desperate to avoid being overthrown by its own people to develop nuclear weapons is about the most dangerous and irresponsible thing that the world could ever allow. And if Israel were to stop that genocidal, theocratic, unstable government from acquiring nuclear weapons, it would be a gift by the Jewish state to humanity.
Wow. Send more of that guy. He can't be the president of the United States because he's a Canadian guy, and he was born there. It's Canada, America's hat. America's largest national park. It's Poilievre. Poilievre is his name, Pierre Poilievre. And the conservative opposition leader, member of Parliament, ought to run for prime minister because Canada and the world, I think, need this guy. All right, now let's go to the CNN craziness because this is truly nutty. Now, the Democrats, they really are dying from Trump derangement syndrome. Where does this start? Is this in our cut sheet? Oh, that's right. It's not. I knew that. Never mind. So CNN has this. They've got experts on, and they call Trump Hitler, and the anchors, they sit there and nod and they look concerned. Yeah, he's Hitler. Now, I'd like to point out my father actually killed Nazis in World War II, and we're always real proud of him that he killed Nazis, because killing Nazis, that's a good thing. But when you're a Democrat, you go around and you call everybody Hitler. His Socialist Workers' Party. Ask any Democrat what's the full name of Adolf Hitler's party, his political party, and I'll bet you $1 you're never going to find a Democrat that knows the full name of the Nazi party, of Adolf Hitler's party. But it started. Democratic strategist compares Trump to Hitler, insists he would absolutely try to exterminate people. This is what they're selling on CNN and on MSNBC. But President Trump, was talking about the number of murderers that we have in the United States that are illegal aliens, because Democrat Congressman Tony Gonzalez, a while back, Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez from Texas, asked the Department of Homeland Security for numbers of convicted criminals that they've allowed into the country that they know about. And even the Washington Post, while attacking President Trump on this topic, said that ICE told the congressman that there were 662,566 people that they waved into the United States that have criminal histories, all right, and not detained by ICE. They broke it down by crime. They said 13,099 people were convicted of homicide and not detained by ICE. So they waved them into the country. These are people convicted of murder in other countries, 13,099, call it 14,000. So President Trump said, what is with allowing all these convicted murderers in the country? And he said, you got murderers loose. You know, it's not like they're going to get better. It's in their genes. They're murderers. This is what Trump said.
Donald Trump, during an interview with Hugh Hewitt this morning, and talking about immigration, and brings up genes. And by that, I mean genetics. And the genes of immigrants coming to this country. I want to listen to this. We're going to listen to it for the first time all together here, okay?
The first time all together now.
How about allowing people to come through an open border, 13,000 of which were murderers? Many of them murdered far more than one person, and they're now happily living in the United States. You know, now a murderer, I believe this, it's in their genes, and we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now.
All right, that's what Trump said.
We have a lot of bad genes in our country right
murderers.
now.
He's talking about murderers.
The immigrants who come over. He was calling them murderers.
He was calling them. Now, just pause that. That he just immediately he listened to it, and within seconds, John Berman completely misrepresented what just happened. Immigrants. He's calling them murderers. No, he's citing a U.S. government number that was given to a member of Congress that the ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, said that there were 13,099. President Trump lowballed the number with 13,000. It's actually 13,099, call it 14,000. People that ICE identified as murderers that they waved in the country. Immediately, the corrupt, filthy, dim-witted John Berman, a corrupt anti-journalist, says, immediately converts it. He's talking about immigrants. He's calling them murderers. No, he specifically cited murderers. But these guys don't follow the news. They don't know what's in the news. It got worse from there.
That discussion about the genes of immigrants, Aisha, your first reaction?
My first reaction is that we have long known that Donald Trump has revered the Nazis. He has revered Hitler. He's read his book. He used to say he had it on his nightstand.
He used to say he had it on his nightstand, right?
Very sinister philosophy.
Very sinister.
Wanting to be a dictator.
Very
absolutely
sinister.
Dividing people up based on who they are, based on factors about them that have to do with their race and their
What
gender,
are you talking about?
And when he uses language like this, I don't think that it's a Freudian slip. I think that the danger of a Donald Trump is that he would absolutely try to exterminate an entire group of people because he thinks that their genes are somehow different than his and faulty.
Now, that is what they converted what he said. This is an old technique that I've been talking about for years. The Democrats, they take what you've said, they change it until it's not what you've said, and then they attack you for what you didn't say. Right, I've been explaining it that way for well over a decade. And here is today's example of the filthy, corrupt CNN. I spit on your grave. Tui. And I only worked there for 17 years. You people are a disgrace to what used to be known as journalism. President Trump is talking about convicted murderers waved into the country, according to Immigration Customs Enforcement. He specifically cited that. They just threw out what he said. He's Hitler. He's going to, and on and on. Just amazing. Well, at least appalling, if not amazing. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier uses Oxy technology that helps to quickly destroy a whole lot of viruses and odors and mold spores in the air and much more. Thousands of 5-star reviews online. We've got 2 at home ourselves. Works like a champ. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Odors from cigarette smoke and trash cans, your mother-in-law's cooking, and left-wing protesters are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Because the powerful thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that seek out and help destroy these odors. These molecules even go behind and underneath furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. And you don't have to buy filters over and over again and replace them and put it on your calendar. No, sir. You can hold a thunderstorm in your hand. They're only this big. Right now, you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for a whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200. So you put one in your basement, your teenager's room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code Chris3. Chris and the number 3 to save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is Chris3. Yeah. CNN, they listen to what he said. They immediately forget what he said, make up something else, and then debate what he didn't say. Well, attack what he didn't say.
We have a lot of bad genes in our country right now, talking about the immigrants who come over. He was calling them murderers.
Listen, this isn't the first time we've heard this kind of talk from Donald Trump, and it reeks of authoritarianism, and it also harkens back to a time of Hitler.
Yes, the old Hitler thing. Now, you guys, aborted more than 1 million babies last year, including about 40% of the black population in the womb last year. You guys are marching against Israel and chanting from the river to the sea. You guys have mobs and mobs of people, thousands and thousands, trashing our cities and burning businesses and looting and burning and overturning police cars. You guys made mob street political violence normal. You made arson normal. You made looting normal. Can't tell you how many times looting has gone on around me in the last couple of years, all because of you, 100% you. And, by the way, Hitler's party was called the Socialist Workers' Party of Germany. Huh?